All right, today we are talking about three ways you can create more margin in your leadership life, right? If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, overworked, 60-hour plus work weeks, don't have time for family, all this kind of stuff. You get it. The point is, we're going to teach you three concepts and the practical how to do it in terms of creating more margin, creating more space in your calendar today. So let's hop in. And number one, I want to talk about the focus funnel. So the focus funnel is a concept. It comes from the book. Listen to this title. This title is awesome. It's called Procrastinate on Purpose. That was written by Rory Vaden. And I'll never forget this concept, right? So here is an image of the focus funnel, and I'll walk you through it really quick. So the concept is this, and then we'll talk about how to put it into practice, right? So the focus funnel, you get a task. It comes across your desk. You know that you need to do it. And basically just ask yourself these questions. And the interesting thing is don't ask yourself right off the bat, should I do it? Ask yourself first, can I eliminate this task? Is it even necessary, right? So eliminate. After that, if it is necessary, think about, can I automate it? So tasks that you find that you're repeating over and over and over again, can you automate the task, right? A very easy example would be to go out and to purchase a tool. I don't even remember how much it costs. It's called Text Expander, right? Text Expander. I'll look it up while I'm teaching and just get the price for you too, just so you have a sense. I get no money, by the way, if you buy this tool. I just think it's awesome. And so I'm spreading news about it. Okay, it's 40 bucks a year or $3.33 a month. So you can for sure, I think you could probably, right, cover that. So here's how Text Expander works. If you find yourself responding in a similar way, time and time and time again, okay, in Text Expander, you can create a little code. And so, for example, I get pitched all the time for the podcast, all right? Or another good example is I reach out to people to connect on LinkedIn all the time. Well, I could write that message over and over and over again. So as a school leader, you have homecoming coming up, right? Or I don't know, I guess the holiday breaks will be starting pretty soon in December. Maybe you're going to get questions a lot about when does holiday break begin, or will there be homework? And, this kind of stuff, you can have an answer to that question that's going to be asked 1,000 times, right? And you write a little code. So it could be X holiday. That's how I do mine. For LinkedIn, I just put XLI for LinkedIn, CON for connect. Does this make sense? And what pops out is hi, and then there's a blank for the person's name. We're both really interested in education and leadership. Care to connect here on LinkedIn, right? Does that make sense? It's really an easy tool because it's a message that I send over and over. And that's an example of pretty much automating that process, right? So Text Expander is a how to do that, but we're thinking about automation. So let's go back to the focus funnel. So eliminate, automate. Third, can you delegate it, right? So there's things that are outside of what I would call your zone of genius. There are things that would build the capacity of others. There are things, for example, that folks would love to do that you hate doing. So why are you doing it, right? That's the easiest thing to delegate. Things that you're still doing, but you know you can hand it off. Well, get rid of it. So for example, we're doing a live mastermind event. It's going to be remarkable. It's going to be in Denver in the summer, July 14th through the 16th. We're teaching a leadership concept called the Leadership Optimization Compass. That's 2 days of leadership training. The third day, we're going to have whitewater rafting and hiking mountains. What other education conference is doing this? Nobody, right? So this is going to be an awesome, amazing thing. What does this have to do with delegation? I hate logistics, right? I have no business planning the entire event. Where my zone of genius comes in is creating the space in the environment for leaders to connect, to teach them concepts powerfully, to create tools that will give them a plan and concrete next steps to ultimately get a result. So I'm going to stay in my lane there. And then Gabby, who I've hired, she's finding the hotel, she's finding the tour company, she's picking the venues for food and that kind of stuff, entertainment. I'm not touching any of that, right? And so that's an example of something that I can delegate, right? So for you, and since I said I'll give you practical stuff in terms of delegation, here's what you can do, right? List all the things that you are currently doing in the scope of your position. And then I use this filter. It doesn't have to be your filter. It really is important to me. How are you going to filter every single task? I think in this term, is this task a hell yes or a hell no? So essentially, am I really excited and love doing it and create a ton of value doing this thing? Or is it something that's important, still creates value, but it doesn't give me energy? I want to try to give those things away, right? So your task, your filter, right? Are you going to continue it? Are you going to delegate it? Or can you eliminate it? So you can see I'm weaving in the focus funnel in terms of the delegation. And then what's the next step, right? The last column, I do done or not done. Does this make sense? And that's the way I've processed all the tasks. I think I have like 3 things left to give away within what my job currently looks like. Okay. So we've gone through eliminate, we've gone through automate, we've gone through delegate. And then you see at the bottom of the focus funnel, you either now have a decision to make. Can I procrastinate on it? Can I defer? And if it's not urgent and it doesn't need to be done now, maybe you kick it up the funnel. And if you procrastinate, it goes back through the filter. What you'll find is that after procrastinating a handful of times, let's say 3 to 5, maybe you just actually really needed to eliminate it, but you didn't have the courage at the time, right? That's what you're going to find. Okay. So if it's gone through this, eliminate, automate, delegate, procrastinate, ultimately you're going to have to concentrate at some point. You're going to have to do it. Okay. So that's all I want to say about number 1, which was the focus funnel, which brings me to the second step. You can create more margin in your schedule. So the second step, the concept is Parkinson's Law. Have you ever heard of Parkinson's Law? What Parkinson's Law states is a task is going to expand to the time that you allot to it, right? So if I wanted to do a 1-hour live stream, this would take 1 hour, right? You're probably not streaming all the time as a school leader. So let's put it in your context. You have a leadership team meeting. How long does that normally take? Or a staff meeting? Let's say it's an hour, okay? Parkinson's Law says that staff meeting will take an hour if you budget an hour for it. The interesting thing is, if you budget 30 minutes for it, right? Parkinson's Law says it'll only take 30 minutes. You're going to figure out how to create value to cover the material, figure out next steps, cover what needs to be covered in 30 minutes. And that's the practical tip. If you want to create more time, create more margin in your calendar, this is low-hanging fruit. Any meeting that you control, right? Meaning you put it on the calendar, you set the agenda, you get to pick how long it takes. I challenge you today, go through your calendar and shrink all of those meetings by 50%. So if it's an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, you get this. What you're going to find is that you're going to get the same amount of work done in half the time. And you've just bought back a whole bunch of time, because if your experience was anything like mine as a school leader, there are a lot of meetings. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of Parkinson's Law. That's all I want to say about concept and practical tip number 2, which brings us to number 3. And number 3, I want to talk about reducing distractions, right? So obviously, distractions are a bad thing. If you are distracted, you are not optimizing your time in terms of creating value for your school. You're not getting done what needs to get done. You're not doing the most important things, right? Yes, there are emergencies. Yes, you can get pulled in a million different directions. And in the Maximize Your Margin Challenge, which begins on December 5th, you could sign up at betterleadersbetterschools.com/margin. we're going to go definitely deep into how to deal with the emergencies because, yes, they do happen, but strong boundaries help them happen less and you respond less to them. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about boundaries at this point, but you definitely want to consider joining the challenge. Okay. So when it comes to distractions, think about what are some of the uh, leading villains, so to speak, in terms of distraction world. Email, a ton of email. You're not going to save the world or, create all these open doors for kids by like being really good at email. Okay. Email is certainly a distraction. And actually, since we're on the topic of the challenge, when you join the Maximize Your Margin Challenge, day 6, I'm teaching you how to eliminate email. Not for good, you can't do that, but I can get you to 20 minutes or less per day, and I'll show you exactly how. Okay, so distractions. Email is one, social media is one too, right? And so a tool that I actually use, it's a Chrome extension. It's 100% free. Um, it's called Feed Eradicator, News Feed Eradicator. And I'm looking at it right now. You can install it in your Chrome web browser if you use Chrome, and you can eliminate Facebook, Instagram, all the places, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, right? And what happens, which is pretty cool, because just out of habit, you're going to log into a site. Right now, I'm streaming to all those places. If you had Newsfeed Eradicator on, all that pops up is a quote, an inspiring quote, tells you who, it cites the source, and then it says Newsfeed Eradicator. So this is a powerful tool to help you stay focused, right? And then the third thing I want to say with distractions, and you're going to love me or hate me for this, close your door, right? I believe open door policies are a terrible idea. And I have enemies in education, not people, but ideas. One of the enemies that I have in education, open door policies. They don't make any sense. And I get the heart behind it, right? The heart is I'm there, I'm here to serve people. Folks love to say people over paperwork, right? But think about that for a moment. People over paperwork, okay? The argument goes like this. School, let's say 8 to 3:30 generally, all right? Don't tell me that your school starts earlier, goes longer. I don't care. The point is, okay, your staff, your students, parents are there in a constrained amount of time. I get that. But when you say I have an open door policy, I want to be accessible, I prioritize people over paperwork, I would ask you, what people do you prioritize? And what you're saying is, I prioritize my community. And that's not a bad thing. But understand it comes with a cost. What's the cost? You are deprioritizing yourself. Fitness, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's getting a massage, or even just going to the doctor for an annual checkup. You are lowering the priority of your family, right? I'll never forget. This is literally etched into my brain. There was a client in the mastermind, and she said, I'm a better parent to my students than to my own children. Why? Because she was always at school and she was missing out on those big events, right? The chorus recital, the drama performance, the sports match. And at some point when she admitted it, right, then we could do something about it. So anyways, just understand, if you are saying people over paperwork, again, I ask you, which people are you prioritizing? You can still prioritize your community. You can still serve them powerfully and not have your door open 24/7. Having an open door policy only invites a constant influx of distraction. And that doesn't make any sense as a leader. You're inviting more distraction. You're saying, bring it to me because I want to be pulled in a million different directions, right? And you're working at a much less optimal level. So I'm not saying close the door all the time. I'm saying decide on when you are accessible and decide on those times where you do need to do deep work. And it's perfectly okay to do that during the school day. That's totally fine. Okay. That way you'll have time for yourself. You have time for family. Hopefully you get that concept. Okay. Um, so that's all I'm going to say there about reducing distractions. So for the remainder of this time, again, I want to invite you to join the Maximize Your Margin Challenge. This is a brand new challenge that I'm offering here at Better Leaders, Better Schools. We've never offered this challenge before, so it's literally the first time we're doing it. I've been pouring my heart and soul into this. Like, if you can't tell, I am really fired up to teach this. Uh, it's 6 days of content, concepts, practical tools. I've created 7. Like, you can print them off, you can type into them, doesn't matter how you want to work, but the tools will give you a plan with concrete action steps. And that's important because it will create a result for you, right? And it's just quite honestly going to be awesome. And it starts on December 5th. So go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/margin if you want to join that challenge. And just so you know, 150 school leaders just like you are already signed up. Maybe you're thinking, oh, how much does this cost, right? 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 250 bucks, whatever. Like, this is a live teaching over 6 days, with me, the concepts, the ideas, the tools, and your peers. Like, obviously, this is going to be expensive. It's not. It's 100% free. So I really want you to join. Go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/margin. Now I want to review the schedule with you. So day 1, identify your goals day. It's really important to slow everything down. Why do you even want margin in your life? What will that allow you to do by creating more space? So we're going to talk about that. Day 2, we're doing the cleanup day. Cleanup day is all about identifying the biggest challenges and obstacles and doing something about them, either eliminating them or diminishing the impact that they have in your calendar. So you're going to get great value there. Day 3 is create your rules day. One reason you might have a lot of distractions. One reason you might be overworked and 60+ hour work weeks is because you don't have strong boundaries. Maybe they're not even developed. Maybe you can't, honor them. So we're going to go deep into that in terms of creating what I call your ruckus maker rules. Day 4 is owning the day. Quite possibly you've been on my website, Better Leaders, Better Schools, and my most popular download, hundreds, probably thousands, I've stopped counting, of people have taken a free, this is an automated, asynchronous, video course, but it's called, your Create Your Ideal Week, right? So maybe it's the ideal week, maybe it's the ideal day, maybe it's the ideal morning, but we're going to teach you exactly how to own the day on day 4, which is a really popular thing. Now, if you've taken the free course, right, or you're thinking, oh, I'll just take the free course, I won't do the margin challenge, do the challenge. Here's why. The course, I'm not there. Like, I'm teaching it, you get tools, but if you get stuck, well, good luck, right? In the challenge, we're going to actually create that with you there live. And if you're stuck, we can help you get unstuck. Plus, your peers will be there. Like I said, 150 school leaders have already signed up, and you'll be able to network and really brainstorm and, grow ideas off each other, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be super cool. That's day 4. 2 more days. Day 5 is leverage day. Super fun. So like the 3 concepts I taught, spoiler alert, those are 3 that I'm teaching in leverage day plus 2 others. And there's a masterclass. Go to my website. Like I challenge you. You can go to betterleadersbetterschools.com, go to the store. You can buy the delegation masterclass right now. It's 50% off. So it's only $100. Or you can come to leverage day and I'm actually going to teach it live. And so that delegation masterclass. Delegation is a huge way to create more margin and space in your calendar. It's not about just dumping work, right, on other people. There's an art and science to it. And we're going to teach you all of that on day 5. Now, day 6 is really transformative. I don't know about you, right? But I get a lot of email. And quite honestly, like, most of it is not super valuable. There are some emails that I get from some people, and they're so good at teaching or sharing resources, and they're so generous, I always open those. But email can be a huge time suck. Email can be a major distraction. Email can absolutely make you feel like you're working all the time and have you in this like fight or flight mode, and you're never able to really calm down too. Okay. So on day 6, I'm teaching you how to eliminate your email, not entirely, but to 20 minutes or less per day. We have a process for this, and I'm going to give that away. And again, this is all free. Epic, epic. So you might be thinking too, okay, you're teaching me how to create more time in my calendar and schedule, but you're asking me to come to live calls, investing like an hour of time each night with you. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Couldn't you just like send me the videos, or couldn't you just give me the ideas like in text in 3 minutes or less? And the answer is I could, but it's not effective. That's why we're doing it live, right? I got a ton of stuff. And just be honest, investigate your own experience, right? You can read books, take online courses, all this kind of stuff. Go to conferences, but does it change you? Do you get a result? Do you do the work and implement right away? The majority of people, if we're honest, do not, right? And so again, teaching you, if you're stuck and you unstuck, Q&A, like networking with other leaders that are just as driven and innovative and hungry as you, it's going to be great energy, a great space, and again, 100% for free. Anything else I want to cover? So yes, live videos, they will be taped. So stuff comes up. My friend JB says, hey, you can't make up real life, right? So stuff is going to happen, okay? So maybe you'll miss a day. The videos, or we're going to make videos. We're going to record all the teachings except day 6, eliminate your email day. And that one's not going to be taped. The other little nuance that I want to over communicate, when you join the challenge, you'll get the videos. You only get the tools if you show up live. Why do I do that? 2 reasons. One, I want to honor and really over deliver for people who have carved out the time and said, you know what, this is really important to me. And so I'm going to be there with Danny and all these other ruckus makers live to put in the work to create more margin in my calendar because I'm worth it. My family's worth it. My school community's worth it. Why do we do this, right? Everyone wins when you get better. If you have more space in your calendar, you're going to be a better leader. Absolutely. And so I want to honor that commitment to doing that, to creating that result in your life, creating more space by giving you the tool. So if you're not able to come, you get the video, you still get the great teaching, but you won't have the live interaction, the live Q&A, and you won't get the tool. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. Yep. 100% free. It's the Maximize Your Margin Challenge. And let me just throw up the URL one more time, betterleadersbetterschools.com/margin. All right. As I'm signing off here in the comments, if you'll just say, what was the number one insight you had from this teaching, right? What did you find most valuable? Put that in the comments. And if you disagree, I welcome that. I love people that have a different perspective. So feel free to share that. Or if you are confused or have a follow-up question, put those in the comments too. I promise that I'll address every question that are in the comments if there are any at all. Cool. All right. Danny here. See you at the Maximize Your Margin Challenge, betterleadersbetterschools.com/margin. Totally free. You can register. We start next Monday. Bye for now and go make a ruckus.